Hey there, Floss Tube. This is Kathy, the hands-on designer. Happy Monday morning to you all. Just thought I would take a moment while it's kind of quiet in the studio. You'll probably see a cat walking through every once in a while or something. But I just thought I would take a minute and just shoot a little video, kind of catch you up what's been going on lately. And just also I want to do just a quick little tutorial, just a technique that I've been getting a lot of email about. So let's just kind of get right into it. Bill and I came home late last night from the Omaha area where I taught a class on Saturday at the shop. The shop is called Reflections, Framing and Stitching. Julie is the owner. She has a lovely shop. If you're ever stopping through Omaha or have some time while you're driving through or whatever, make a point to stop at her shop. She's got just it's filled with all sorts of lovely linens and threads and charts. She has it displayed so beautifully. They do custom framing there, so there's just a ton of shop models to ooh and ah over. She's got a real fun system for labeling her shop models, so it's easy to get, you know, if you're like, I like that one, number 63, and they've got a great system for finding the shop models, and just, you know, I don't know, it's just a real fun shop. So it's definitely a must-see shop. So it was kind of nice for us because Bill got to go with me for the weekend. Lots of times when I go to teach, I either have to take a plane or drive for a day or two. This was just hop in the car, and a couple hours later, we were down in Omaha. So Julie closed the shop on Saturday so we could use her great teaching area and have just a fun class. We had stitchers from Kansas all the way to a group of sisters that came in from the Denver area, so it was kind of fun. We had just a nice group. Some obviously knew each other, some didn't, but everybody just was chatting and getting along, and it's just always so much fun to have a day like that. And after class was over, we had just a short time for a meet and greet. So a couple local people who weren't able to take the whole day for the class, but wanted to come in and say hi. A few drove from a distance to just, you know, come say hi, and that's just always a huge treat. I just love spending the day with stitchers like that. So the class that we did, this might look a little familiar to you if you've seen, oops, upside down, previous posts, was this little pin cushion and tray. This was the class. It's called Stitch in the Garden. This is the class, oh my gosh, I'm holding everything upside down. This is the tray that I taught when I was teaching overseas at the Handwork Boutique in the Netherlands last year. So it's the first time I've gotten to teach it here in the States. And for those of you who are wondering, yes, I will be releasing this as a regular part of the Hands-On Design catalog. Look for it, I would say, in early 2020. I'm not going to commit to a date just yet because you never know what happens. But anyway, so that's kind of what we're looking at. So yes, definitely it will be available for purchase at some point. And it's just a fun little set. They actually got a coordinating little fob to go with it. And then we also had just a fun, right at the end of class, I asked if they were up for just kind of testing something for me. Every once in a while, when I'm developing new classes, if I'm in a class and they're willing to do so, I kind of have them be like a pilot class so I can test out a different technique or whether I think this will work well in a future class, that type of thing. So we had another fun little project that we worked on that they got to take home with them. And I think they were all pretty pleased and it went really well. I was able to kind of take some notes on how I want to teach it in the future. So hey, win-win for everybody. During the meet and greet, most of you might know by now, when I go to do one of these classes, I like to design just an extra little something for the trunk show, something to maybe be based on like the theme of the weekend or the shop name. In this case, I went with the shop name. Julie's shop name is Reflections, Framing and Stitching. So I came up with this little design. It's called Present Blessings. It's based on a quote from Charles Dickens, and the quote reads, oh, hold on, let me find it. Reflect upon your present blessings, of which every man has many, not on your past misfortunes, of which all men have some. So it was just, it was a quote that kind of spoke to me in the moment, and it was just something that was timely for me, and I think appreciated by the stitchers that have already actually purchased the chart. Now I left all of it is limited, but I left all the kits that I made because it comes with little buttons and the backing fabric. I left everything with Julie, so if you are interested, she is making a list, and she will mail it to you. It uses a 32 count white Belfast with DMC threads. It's just a sweet little pillow. It's big enough that it feels like a nice piece. It could even potentially be framed, but yet it's small enough it makes a nice pillow that you could tuck into a basket or something like that, or just something that you wake up in the morning and you just read it, and it's a nice daily reminder. Not really a devotional, but kind of just a nice little thought for the day. So anyway, so call Julie at the shop, Reflections Framing and Stitching. I will try and put information in the comments if I remember. Anyway, so let's move on to, I guess, maybe the tutorial section. I've gotten a few questions about how I attach my fabric, the cotton fabric, to what I have been affectionately referring to as the finish of 2019, which, let me stop right there. As I got thinking about this, really was almost the finish of 2018 too, because I used it in all of the farmhouse, the Chalk on the Farm designs, where I used a standard size frame. This is an 11 by 14 frame. I did design the piece with this finish in mind, that it would fit well into a standard frame. So this is actually foam core covered in a quilting cotton. And I've had some people ask, how I attach my quilting cotton to the foam core. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So I used it in this, which was Autumn Acres, Chalk on the Farm. Let me have a lot of stuff sitting here. And then I did, of course, this is another one of the Chalk on the Farm. This was the Winter Wonderland. Same thing. It's foam core in there and covered in a quilting cotton. There is actually a layer of batting in there. And then come on into 2019. I did that for the new farmhouse chalk. Of course, we've switched direction now. And I switched up the frame, but it's still an 11 by 14 frame. This is foam core. There's a thin layer of batting under there. Then you can see I used the gingham plaid on point. And then I even did a fun print on the back. No batting in here. I just kept that nice and flat. And then also for more chocolate bunnies. And you see, same size frame, 11 by 14, but I just wanted, for this one, I wanted the fun print to show a little bit more. And it just kind of made it, I don't know, just a fun piece. But just sometimes putting it into a bigger frame just gives it more of a presence. You probably could have even done like a 9 by 11 and really gotten the same effect, but overall a smaller piece. So, and that had a fun print on the back too. Look at those bunnies. That was just something I had in my stash like forever, and then I had the opportunity to use it. Now, it doesn't have to be framed. I also did the carrots and cottontails that way too. The linen is actually stretched on mat board, and then it's mounted on this piece of foam core. You can see the thickness there, and that's got the gingham on point as well, and I attached that gingham to the board in the same way that I'll be showing you, as I did for this, for the back as well, just to kind of cover up all the, gotta have a pretty back. So anyway, so that just gives you some idea of what I'm talking about. I've had some people ask about how I attach that, how I attach the fabric. Now, a lot of people do use sticky board. I actually don't use sticky board. There's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you're comfortable using, that's fine. It's just not what I was kind of taught to use or taught myself how to use. So just use what you're comfortable using. This is almost like using sticky board. It's just that we're creating the sticky board. So what I use is, one second, hold on. Okay, sorry about that. I left it in the other room. So I figured stopping would be better than just, blank space for a while. Anyway, what I do use is stitchery tape. All right, that can be purchased through your local and online shop. It is double-sided acid-free tape. It is quick and easy to use, allows for repositioning, acid and solvent free, safe to use on all types of fabric, and made in the USA. Now, just to be clear, when I do one of these finishes, I'm using the stitchery tape on how I attach the cotton fabric to the mat board. My linen, I actually lace. That's just kind of how, again, how I was taught. If I was doing something quick that I just needed, like, you know, whatever, you could definitely use this, but I prefer to lace the linen portion and then use this on the cotton portion. Now, I don't actually have anything ready to put in a frame, but I thought about this and I thought, oh, I can do the same concept for this. I want to show you a little project that I have. So this kind of gives you some idea how you can use it in your framing, but other areas as well. So where I sit and stitch at night, I have a little table next to me and I've been using a basket, but the basket, I wasn't real happy with the basket because it had sort of angled sides, and so it didn't have a good footprint, and a lot of the things would flop over. So I was really looking for something that had nice straight sides. And I found this galvanized tray at my local hobby store, and I just felt like it had a nice room for all my little tchotchkes that I put in there, but it would look pretty too, because this does sit out in my home and I want it to look nice. So if you all, I don't know, one of my little, how do I want to say this? I don't want to call it a pet peeve or whatever, but do you know, like, okay, so a lot of people don't like fingernails on a chalkboard. One of my things that kind of sets my teeth on edge is metal on, like, scraping on metal. So as I put this in after I bought it and I put it next to my table, I thought, oh, I just don't really like that metal. Like, all the little things I put in there, it just kind of scrapes on the metal. It's like, oh, I don't like silverware on your teeth, and I don't know. So when I was thinking about shooting this video, this little tutorial, I thought, oh, this would make the perfect project. So not only can you use this for if you frame something the way I do, but, you know, yeah, there's other things that you can use this for. So I cut a piece of foam core to fit the bottom of my tray. So I'm going to do that part. I think I'll talk about that more, say, in another video. We're just going to concentrate more on the fabric portion of it today. So I measured my inside of my tray. It is not a perfect square. So you would want to consider that if you were maybe using a design that required a square. It's about a 1/2 inch difference, even though that really looks square. It's not. But I measured it and cut my piece of foam core. And I just use regular foam core, the kind that I get from a craft store. When it's on sale, I usually buy 5 or 6 sheets of it just to have it on hand. And you can see I just cut it to size. And then I did attach a piece of Warm and Natural white batting. I do keep on hand 2 different colors of batting. I like the Warm and Natural. I keep white handy, and I keep the natural handy. You can also sometimes use the darker colors, but actually I have another trick for that too. So I like using the white, especially if you're going to be lacing like a cream or an ivory linen, or using a lighter fabric. And this is the fabric I chose. I found this fun big print. Just have fun with this. Don't worry about, you know, should it match. I just wanted something pretty and springy, and I love kind of a Marimekko, I don't know, mid-century kind of vibe to it. And I just wanted something that would be fun and bright in there and brighten things up after this long winter that we've had. So I also attached, you'll notice as I'm holding this, it's kind of flopping, but it's not going anywhere. I did attach my batting in the center with a piece of that stitchery tape. Just because I've kind of gotten in that habit, because if I was lacing my needlework on top of it and I'm worrying about centering it and keeping it straight, I don't want the batting to move. And by taping it into place, that's sort of like giving myself an extra hand. I don't have to worry about this shifting. So that's kind of why I do that. So what I'm going to do is show you how I attach the cotton to the back of my foam core. I'm going to actually stop the camera and then tilt it down so that you can see my hands and see what I'm working on the counter. Okay, so hold on, let me change that. Okay, so I'm back, and hopefully I think this should work. So what I've got is I've got my foam core that I've cut out. I've attached my piece of Warm and Natural white, just one layer of batting, and it should fit inside my, I've already tested it, it should fit inside my tray. And I've got my fabric cut to square. I've got a couple inches around, and I'm going to turn that right side down onto my countertop. Then I'm going to take my my board with the batting, and I'm going to put batting side down. And now I'm not really having to worry about making sure I've got straight lines around it with either like a plaid or a stripe or something like that. You will want to definitely take care if you've got a stripe or something like that's why I do a lot of my plaids. I turn them so that they run this way. They run diagonal on point so that we don't necessarily have to worry as much about making sure that the lines are straight, because especially with a stripe, nothing kills a look more if your stripe is kind of wobbly at the edge. You really want the eye to focus on the needlework. You want to focus it on the center. Everything else should complement the piece that you're doing. It shouldn't take away from it. And sometimes if you've got those little wobbles on the edge, I'm sorry, that's where my eye gets drawn. So you definitely want to take care of that. Now, as you remember, I've got just this nice big print. I don't really have to worry about that. And that's the other thing. Don't be afraid of big prints like this. So now I'm ready to go. I'm going to take my, I have one opened already, and I'm going to get a pair of scissors. I call these are inexpensive scissors. I call them sticky scissors because this is sticky, and eventually my scissors are going to get sticky, and you can either take the time to clean them, or I buy inexpensive scissors. That way I don't feel like I broke the bank if I want to go ahead and get a new pair of scissors. And I don't know, I thought those were pretty scissors. I picked those up on one really wintry day. They were not expensive, and you know, sometimes real scissors covered in flowers last a whole lot longer than real flowers. I know, kind of goofy. But this is my real scientific way of measuring, okay? As you can see, I've unrolled a bit of the tape, and I'm gonna kind of just hover over the edges of the board, and I've lined up on this side of my mat board here and over here, and I'm gonna use my thumbnail and just kind of indent right there in my sticky board, or into my tape, my sticky tape, and I'm gonna cut right on that indent. Real scientific, right? So we can measure, we can do whatever, but eyeballing it is just fine. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and cut this in half, mostly because I like to be a little more efficient with my tape. If you're like me, I use a lot of it, so it takes a little practice. You can see it's all over my hands. It's pretty sticky. So I'm going to take this one. I'm going to just attach it onto my roll there, just so it doesn't stick all over the place. And I'm going to put it on the edge closest to me. And I'm going to get my tape, my other piece of tape, and I'm going to put it on the edge opposite. I put it right close to the edge of the mat board and make sure it's stuck down there. All right. Now I keep an X-Acto knife handy. Well, I usually have them handy all the time in my finishing studio. But I like to, some people find it's difficult to peel the back of this double-sided tape. So what I do is I peel a corner and peel it back like that. I'm going to try and move, whoops, a little more into camera here. There we go. That's a little bit better. So I've peeled this layer of the double-sided tape, and I'm going to take my fabric, and I'm actually going to start in the middle. I'm going to pull it up and just rest it into the double-sided tape, the sticky portion. And then once I kind of see I don't need to pull it up and make any little adjustments, I'm really just going to kind of smooth it down like that. Now more of the adjustments would come, like say if I had like I said a straight line or some kind of print that I was trying to match up there. So then I'm going to turn this, and I'm just going to scoot my board up there because I want to make sure that there's no puckers or anything on the front. And I'm going to take my X-Acto and lift up on the corner, peel that tape off. And again, I'm going to start in the middle, and I gave my fabric a nice little tug. You don't want to pull too hard that you distort the board. Now, you'd have to distort the foam core, you'd have to pull pretty darn tight. Couple things: you don't want to distort the images on the front on your fabric. You don't want to distort the board, which would be more of a concern if you were using, say, cardboard or comic board. But you can kind of see I'm giving the fabric a little tug as I'm laying it down inside onto the sticky-sided tape. And then I'm happy with that. And this is what the front looks like. You can see, nice and smooth. And this is what my back looks like. The fabric is laid over into the double-sided sticky part. All right. Then I'm going to turn it this way. Okay, and I'm gonna let you in on a secret. You might see a little residue there. This is my second take at this. I'm gonna go ahead and roll out the tape again, just to do that real scientific measurement. I'm gonna hold it kind of close to the edge here, kind of dent it with my fingernail there, and that gives me my spot where I'm gonna trim it. Now, when I put this half on, of these two sides, it's gonna go over the fabric on the sides. I don't want it to come out over the fabric, like over the edge of the mat board. I want it to stop even maybe like 1/8 of an inch from the edge. So that's why I just kind of guesstimate it with my holding it here and making a mark with my thumbnail. And it usually works every time. Sometimes I have to trim a little bit more off. You can always add more. Not always the case, but you can add more. So I cut it in half again, you see. And I'm gonna lay this down here. And you can see I'm fairly close to the edge there. I'm a little bit further away. That's okay. That's about 1/8 of an inch right there, and that's all right. So then I'm going to turn it so that I put this half on. We're almost done, folks. This is how simple this is. So I laid this down. Now you can see I'm giving it a little bit of an extra rub onto the fabric. I want to really make sure it's adhered well to the fabric portion. I'm going to use my X-Acto again. I'm just going to grab at that little corner and then peel it back. Okay, now the biggest trick to pulling this side up, I'm not going to pull it straight up because then I'll kind of end up getting a little jut out on the corner. What I actually want to do, we got a little sticky residue from my previous attempt, is I'm actually going to pull the corner in just a little bit on both sides. And you can see I'm using like all 10 fingers and toes and whatnot. But I'm going to pull the edge of the corner in just a little bit because I'm just going to work with the natural pull of the fabric. And then turn it up. And this time I'm actually working kind of outside to inside. The idea of pulling that fabric in a little bit is so that when I turn it, that's what my corner is going to look like. So that when I turn it, I don't have any fabric coming out right there. Okay? So then I'm going to turn. I'm going to do the other side. Pull up on the corner, peel back. I'm going to give my corners a little. You see what I'm doing here? I'm giving my corners just a little tug in like that. Flip it up. Kind of go to the middle. This takes a little practice. Sometimes, you know, you can kind of feel like you're all thumbs when you're doing this. Oops. I'm going to trim that little extra piece right there. It's just. Now, I will say, when you do it this way, of course, you've got a little bit in this corner, tape, the double-sided tape is up here. So you've got this little bit right here that's kind of flopping around that's not covered or not stuck down with tape. That's okay for purposes of what I'm doing, and then also in the frames, because that's going to be on the back. And I feel like if you look at the front, I have a nice smooth, nothing's coming loose, I don't have any puckers. If that really concerns you, then what you can do, here, I'll do it real quick, is I'm going to cut a little piece of tape. And if that really concerns you, like, oh, it might come loose, then you might just want to add a little piece of tape right there and tuck it all down like that. And then you don't even have to remove that. But that just kind of, but you've got tape, you've got the double-sided tape all under there holding everything into place, so you should be fine. So there's my board, and ta-da, that's really it. I do two opposite sides, turn it, pull those corners in a little bit, and then do the other two sides, and you're ready to go. So if I was framing this, at this point, I would be probably popping it into my frame, and you'd be ready to go. So in this case, I'm gonna take my tray, and I'm going to, let's see if I put it in the right way. Now, if I wanted this to stay forever and ever, I'd probably put another piece of double-sided tape here, peel it back, and then let it stick to the bottom of the tray. But in this case, I think it'll stay in place pretty well. And who knows, I might want to change out my color, my fabric to a different season, or maybe this will get dirty. Something might spill on it. So I want it to be able to pop it out, take this fabric off, recover it, and ta-da, you've got a whole new piece. So I'm just going to let that sit in there. Oh, and of course I put it in the wrong way. Let's try this way. Yep, popped right in. And there you go. Doesn't that look nice and sweet? And it's gonna sit on the table by my side of the where I stitch, and so I don't, no more fingernails on a chalkboard sound to me. And this is what I put in my. I keep in my tray. I keep a little bowl like this. It's got packs of needles, just some little tchotchke stuff. I keep some extra thread. I like to collect these little thread cards. And that's got my little collection in there. And I've got, this is a vintage flower frog. You probably have seen these. And then a gal I know, well, okay, I don't know her because everybody's gonna be saying, where can I get that? I've met up with her at a craft fair. I don't have information. It's just a craft fair that I've gone to in Nebraska for a number of years. And she makes the baskets to fit these. And I bet if you know somebody who makes baskets, they'd be able to make you one to fit your flower frog. So I just love having this in there with my scissors in it. And this is another little basket that I bought from the same gal. It's just got fun little, I don't know, it's just got little clips in there, little handy stuff, but makes it look pretty. And then this is one of those heartware bowls from Cecilia from Heart and Hand. She does the patterns like that all fit in the top. And I've bought all the patterns. I will stitch them someday, but they are all finished to fit on there. But in the meantime, I thought I would enjoy my bowl. So it just has little tchotchkes in it too. That fits in there. I keep little tweezers. Those get kind of tucked in the side. And I gotta have my coasters handy. What's your superpower? So I just kind of keep that all handy, and that's my tray. So I'm going to take that upstairs when I'm done with the video, and it's going to go right back on the table next to where I stitch at night. So I'm going to stop here and come back up so I can see you. Okay, so just a quick right back at you kind of moment here. One final look at my lovely little tray. Whoops! See, that's why I did it when it was face down. So don't want everything to fall over, but my fun little tray. And I like the fabric. It's kind of light and bright and reflects up. So that's going to go upstairs next to my stitching spot. And let's see. So I better get back to work as this is publishing. I hope you enjoy the tutorial, and give Julie a call if you're interested in that extra little present blessings chart. And what else have we got coming up? That's it for me for classes for a while now, until July, when I'll be at You Count in Cheyenne, Wyoming. I posted on my social pages a picture of that class, not the actual stitching. You got the digitized image, but it's a 2-day class. It's called the Top Drawer, and we're going to actually be making a drawer in it. It's just so fun. I love how the piece came out. So it just tickles me when something in my head actually comes out the way I want it to, because they don't always. So anyway, so if you're interested in that class, go take a look on my Facebook page or my Instagram page. Give Penny a call. I know she actually has quite a few signed up for the class already. So there will be pre-stitching involved. And let's see, what else? Working on the next Farmhouse Chalk. That'll be coming out soon. The next in the Scary Apothecary are coming out soon. What else? Something new coming out this summer I'm pretty excited about. Can't tell you anything about that yet. I think you'll like it. So anyway, in the meantime, thanks for going through the little tutorial with me. Thanks for, well, I was going to say sitting through the second and third take. You haven't sat through the second and third take. I've sat through the second and third take. But thanks for bearing with me, and until next time, enjoy the stitch. Have a great week. Bye-bye.